Hello, everyone, and welcome to this conversation presented by White House Custom Color.
Are you trying to mute me? No, it's just real loud, and I can't.
I sold Amazon, but it was $25.
Listening to listen, not listening to respond.
Yes. Oh, thank you for that.
You want me just to start with like, hi?
Start wherever you think the beginning is.
Okay, beginning. So my name is True Moua, and I'm located here in Homan, Wisconsin. I specialize in senior portraits. I do a little bit of everything else. Like I dabble a little bit in weddings and couples and whatnot, but mainly my specialty is high school senior portraits. So I have been shooting since 2012 is kind of when I started playing around with a camera and just kind of really fell into it. I'm sure you've heard that story a million times, but I really did. I had been doing dental for 16 years and really loved that, but picked up a camera, kind of started playing around with it and just really found myself falling kind of in love with it. So at first I was shooting a little bit of everything, like everybody else, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then quickly found that what I really loved was working with high school kids. So I launched full-time in 2015. And I've been doing full-time senior portrait photography since 2015.
Why seniors?
Why seniors? Because they love to be there. I mean, they're excited. It's a big part of their year. I mean, come on, let's be real. The little 2-year-old running around with, tears and snot and all of that is, that was a challenge. And I think for me, it was almost easier to work with, clients who really wanted to be there and were excited to be there in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then as I did it more, I was just finding that I was able to do something with these kids that really contributed to their high school year. So a lot of, I would say the clients that come to me struggle with insecurity or, they just want to be seen and they want to feel amazing and they want to be pampered and they want to have that, whole like Hollywood glam day for their senior portraits. And I was able to do that. And I just have really loved like, getting to know the kids and working with them throughout the year and just knowing that I somehow contributed to their, their confidence and all of that. But yeah, they love to be there. They're excited. It's fun. They're open to being creative and not just, the traditional poses. So
Considering all of that,
what was that?
Well, and I don't want to dwell on this too much, but I want to touch on it. Considering everything that you're saying, how have the last, 3 or 4 months been in particular for you?
So Wisconsin is a little, at least in my area, I don't know about all of Wisconsin, but we really only have a few months to do senior portraits. And I say that because most kids don't want to have their senior portraits done until they're going to actually be a senior. So that's typically the summer before their senior year. And then we have a deadline. So yearbook deadlines usually are September, October, latest is about November. So it kind of gives us a very short period to shoot senior portraits. And I do, I started when I launched full time back in 2015, I started this session that I called was an all season session. And it was just a way for me to it was a way for me to offer to my clients something that was a little different than other senior photographers were doing. And that allowed them to shoot one session per season. So in that sense, it did really kind of ruin that whole thing just because we weren't able to get in winter shoots and spring shoots. And, I found other ways to make it up to those clients. And I have some clients who are willing to, shoot spring and winter in 2021. So, we will wait a little bit, but we'll eventually get to it. But yeah, it didn't, fortunately, I'm usually prepared for a slower season during those months. So
it wasn't as bad as what it could have been for you. But you have a program where they book 4 sessions?
Yes.
One all the way around.
All the way around. Yep.
How does that work?
So they're shorter sessions. They're, my most popular session, I would say, is my 2-hour senior shoot. This is a shorter session. It's 45 minutes to an hour shoot. It's less outfits. That way, by the time they're done, they usually end up with about 6 or 8 different outfits, but they're just shorter times. And what we try to really do with that is utilize the different seasons, of course, that we're fortunate to have here in Wisconsin. So, the kids love it. The parents love it because in a way, I get to document their growth in that year. From the beginning of their senior year to their, the end of their high school year, there's such a huge change in growth.
That too, yeah.
So the parents have loved that, and the kids love that it's less stressful almost in a way because, usually kids come to their session and they're just stressed out, like they want it to be perfect, and they're worried that, it's going to rain or their outfits aren't going to look good or whatever. And this way, I almost feel like it's relaxed them a little bit because they know, like, well, if I really screw it,
there's another
this
one.
Time, we have a second session,
right.
Yeah,
you're giving yourself like more chances, I guess, to capture
more chances. Exactly.
Well, and all the seasons, I'm from Illinois, so I'm not too far from you, but all of the seasons are so pronounced, genuinely, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's almost like, the stereotypical fall or autumn is autumn, and the stereotypical winter is definitely winter, right? And there's a huge distinction between each one. I like that concept. I like the idea of that. I wanted to say I was reading your bio, and as I was reading it, because I've known of you for quite some time, like you have a really unique name, and the name like that sticks in someone's mind, right?
Yeah.
And so I've known of you for a while, but I was like, I don't want to know too much about people before I talk to them in general, right? Because I like to find out. But if there's a bio, I'll generally read it. And as I was reading yours, I was like, this is my wife. You guys are the same. My heart belongs to the mountains, but I am also drawn to the ocean. That's my wife.
Absolutely.
You love being outdoors and hiking and camping. That's my wife. The day begins with sunrise and a coffee. She has to have her coffee in the morning, and you guys love your alone time. She doesn't like TV. She would never have a TV if it wasn't for me.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yep.
And then you wrote, my junk food drawer is actually loaded with veggies and fruit.
Yes.
Is that right?
It is. All my friends know it. Like I would not be able to ever do, what's that new diet everyone's doing right now? Keto diet. It's all like meat, like no fruits, no sugar. I'm like, there's just no way. I live on fruits and veggies, and
yes,
I would be lost.
So does she. My junk food drawer is full of cake. I just push cake in there.
I'm going to have to meet your wife. I think we're going to get along great. She can be my new travel buddy.
And she loves to travel. You two would be 2 peas in a pod.
Awesome.
It'd probably
we're going to have to meet then.
So tell me a little bit more then about your business. Here's what I have another question that I wanted to get to, and I was going to ask towards the end, but I want to ask it now because I have a sense that this might lead to some other stuff. You said very specifically that you don't want to talk about pricing.
Right.
Now, we don't have to talk about pricing, but what I would like to do is talk about why you don't want to talk about pricing.
Okay. So the reason, and I've done pricing before, and the reason why I hate talking about pricing on podcasts or basically almost anywhere is because price really is so dependent on who you are, where you are, what the demand is, what you have to offer. And this is something that I stress to my clients all the time when they are price shopping. Like, if you're going to price shop, you really have to be able to compare apples to apples.
Yeah.
You can't say Jet is charging $300 for a session and True is charging $3,000 for a session. Obviously, Jet is the better package.
Right.
However, what does that include? What's involved in that? And for me, my sessions are very, I spend a lot of time with each one of my clients. So I'm very invested in them. They are very invested in me. And when photographers message me and say, well, what do you charge for a session? Or what should I charge for a session? And it's hard for me to answer that because I don't know who you are. I don't know how long you've been in business. I don't know how great your work is. Your Instagram portfolio might look amazing, but do you deliver? You know, is it the 2 good portraits you took of that whole session out of 1,000 images?
Right.
Or are you able to deliver 100 amazing images? I don't know that. So I think pricing is just something I try to stay away from because I have so many people that say, well, True charge is $4,500. I'm going to charge $4,500 because that has to be the going rate.
Right.
And it's not. It just isn't. And I think as photographers, you know, I think in the beginning, what I was hearing from so many people when I was starting out in the business is you have to be this price or you're just not worth being in the business. And I'm going to say, definitely value yourself and your time. And I always encourage anybody that mentors with me, like your time is valuable. Make sure that you're being compensated for that. However, we are all in a different place and time in our careers, in our life, and how you structure something may not work for me, but it works for you. And how you price something maybe is what you see is the value that you're delivering, but it might not be for me. But I am no place to say you're wrong and I'm right, you know? So I just stay away from that because anytime I talk about pricing, I get a whole bunch of DMs or emails saying, well, I saw you on Sue and I saw that your price is, you know, $4,500 for this package and I'm only charging $1,200. So tell me how I can charge $4,500. And I would love to be able just to give you like the magic tips to do that, but it just isn't that. I mean, we know that we are our brand, right? So when our clients are hiring us, they're not just hiring for that package. They're hiring you and what you can give them. So yeah, that's why I've just stayed away from it. Cause then I have to explain to everybody, well, I can't tell you what to charge, or I can't say that your package is right. And you know, you can send me your price menu, but I don't know what to tell you to do with that because I actually don't really know what I'm getting with that package, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, with all the variables, because I've talked about pricing a lot, and there, you know, I mean, there are formulas and there are maybe rules of thumb here and there,
right?
But you know, like it's one of those things where I've had people follow all the rules, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. And they're still not making any money, or they're not making enough money, right, to cover their expenses, and I'm like, well, you're driving an $87,000 car, so that's a variable, right? I mean, and you and me could do everything the same.
Absolutely.
But if you're good driving an '87 Cavalier, and I need a late model Corvette,
right?
I'm gonna need to make more money, and to do that, I need to lower my expenses and or raise my prices, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's. So my point in saying all of that is to go back to what you said at the beginning. Is it even possible, considering all the variables, to compare apples to apples?
Yeah, it really isn't. I mean, I think, you know, like you said, there's the basic formula we all know that kind of sets the standard for our pricing, or that we should all look at to know at least a starting point. And then from there, like you said, it really just, you know, it depends. It depends on where you are, what your overhead is. I have a studio, maybe you don't. You know, what I charge for my pricing is what I need to make for my family and for my life. So if you're good, like camping out and, you know, staying in an RV all year long and you only need to make, you know, $300 a session, hey, that's wonderful. Good for you.
Go kill it. Right.
Absolutely. So I think that's something that I've had to learn over the years to accept, almost, because I think for me it was almost like ingrained in my head that like you have to be making so much money or you're not good enough. And I'll tell you the story of how I actually started my pricing, because it's absolutely ridiculous and I would never recommend it, obviously, for anybody. But you know, I was in dental and I was photographing my son, and I was getting these inquiries from first friends and then
Mhm.
friends of friends. And people were like, well, what do you charge? And I'm like, I don't know. I Googled other photographers in town. I'm like, oh, she charges $200. I'm going to charge $200. That's what I did. And then, I get these clients and they would want prints. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I didn't even know what White House custom color was at the time.
Yeah.
So I, Googled other photographers and I'm like, oh, 8x10, $50. That's what I'm going to charge, $50. And I'm sitting in my very first, I still remember that, sitting in my very first IPS session. So I never was a shoot and burn. And that probably has benefited me and been able to get me to where I am today.
You were selling from the beginning?
I was selling from the beginning because I didn't know any other way. I didn't know any other way. And when I looked up other studios in town, I just saw they did session and they did prints. Right. So I was like, well, I guess that's what I'm going to do. And my one of my very first IPS sessions, I remember sitting there and I had, your standard 11x14 and your wallets and your 5x7s and your digitals. And the mom's like, I want to get a big canvas, a 24x36 of this image. And I'm like, what the heck is a canvas? So, I basically Google White House and looked at their canvas prices. And I'm like, I don't even know what to charge for a canvas. I'm just going to take the White House custom colors price for me. And I'm going to take that times 4. And I'm just going to go with that. And that's what I did. And so that that set the standard pricing for my canvases. So, I mean, that's the silliest way to do business. And I definitely don't teach that when I mentor. But for me, and one thing I will say for photographers, especially beginning photographers, is don't ever be cheap. Be free if you need to build your portfolio, but don't be cheap. It's really hard to build from cheap. Okay.
I like that a lot. Be free before you're cheap, even if you're looking to build.
Absolutely. Right? I mean, I think, it's going to be hard. Let's just take Walmart for an example. It's going to be hard for Walmart to start selling $2,500 purses if forever they've been selling $30. I mean, nobody that's shopping for a good quality $2,500 purse is going to even think, I'm going to go to Walmart. So, I just say we need to start somewhere. We all start somewhere, and we need to build our portfolio. So find a way to show value in what you're offering, for free, and build your portfolio that way. But definitely don't be cheap unless that's where you plan on being and staying. I mean, if you want to be that $300 shoot and burn photographer forever, absolutely. Go ahead. There's nothing should stop you from that. But if you are at a beginning stage of your career and you see that you want to build that down the road and you want to be in a place where you can be financially comfortable, then that's probably not the way to do it. And I was fortunate enough to not be very smart and do it wrong. So,
well, so you kind of learned that the hard way, right?
Right.
What's another thing that comes to your mind when you look back at the last, 5 to 8 years for you in particular? Mm-hmm. What's another thing that comes to mind right away when you think to yourself, I had to learn that one the hard way?
Gosh. I think one thing for sure would be communication with your clients. I mean, I think making sure that you communicate everything, whether it's good, whether it's bad, just helping them prepare for their session, whatever you need your clients to know, making sure that you communicate that well, and well as in dumbing it down all the way in your emails, so that, because I think we forget sometimes, and I was the same way when I worked in dental. It's like I almost forget that my patients don't understand dental terms or a dental situation the same way, right? So we have to remember that our clients are the same. Like, to us, it seems like common sense, but to them, they're doing this for the very first time, have no clue. And so I think just making sure that all of, whatever it may be, whether it's your pricing, whether it's money that is due up front, whether it's something that you need them to bring, like just making sure that you are communicating well with their clients.
Did you kind of find out that, I feel like this happens in that we don't realize in those scenarios, especially like the sales part. We don't realize sometimes that we are the experts, or at the very least, even if we don't feel like we're the experts, right?
Right.
That we are looked at as the experts by our clients. Like, we don't understand, we're not thinking along those lines, right? A lot of times. And so you don't tailor your communication, is what I'm hearing you say. And this rings true to me. You don't tailor your communication to kind of embrace the fact that they're looking at you as kind of the expert. Like, they're almost coming to you like, well, what should I do? Or where should I hang this? Or what should I purchase? Right?
Yeah.
Like, all of those boxes you could check by having your communication in order.
Absolutely. And I think this goes back to what kind of photographer do I want to be? What kind of service do I want to provide? Yep. Am I the $300 shoot and burn? Like, you're just going to meet me today and we're going to shoot and I'm going to just upload your images and it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Or are you looking to provide a special type of experience for your clients, which for me, that is what I provide. So my clients that do book me know exactly what they're going to get from me because they've talked to their friends and their friends' friends, and they have seen it on Instagram, and they have been following me for years. So they know, and parents will say, we are coming to you because we don't know what we're doing. And we want you to tell us everything we need. And that makes their life easier. And that's what they're investing in. They're investing in that. They're investing in that experience. So for me, I know that I can't fall when it comes to communicating with my clients because they're expecting that. And that's part of the experience with me. So, but I do believe it makes everything easier. Whether you are just shoot and burn, hey, let them know this is what we're going to do. We're going to meet you here. We're going to shoot for 2 hours and we're going to upload your images to a gallery to download them. And that's it. I mean, even if that's how simple your service is for your clients, communicating that so they're not thinking, well, am I coming back for an ordering session? Do I get 500 images? Do I get 30 images? How long is it going to be? So, I think the more we tell our clients and the more they know, the less questions we're going to get. Right. And the less disappointment as well. So.
Right. Yeah. Like, the disappointing surprises can be huge roadblocks, and you're also getting rid of the friction for them, right? As they go through the process. So they kind of know what to expect to some degree. They're not sitting down and looking at a price list for the very first time in a sale, for instance. Right.
Right. I mean, I know some photographers do it that way. I'm not going to say there's a right or wrong way of doing that. But I know for me, it works that my clients know exactly what they're investing in and how much they're investing, and providing them that whole pricing guide and helping them almost decide I don't know that anybody really decides how much they're going to spend when they come in, but it's good to get a general idea. I mean, it's like when you're building a house, you don't just go and say, I'm going to build a house. I mean, you need to break it down and know, okay, what are you investing in the foundation? What are you investing in, the products inside the foundation? So, for me, it's easier for my clients to have that pricing guide and know exactly what they can expect when they walk through my door.
I feel like a lot of times in our experience, the dads will sometime have a number, and I can confirm this in that when we at one point decided to go have family pictures done, it was just the two of us and our daughter at the time. We walked into the sales appointment a week later, and I had a number in my mind, and it wasn't a very high number. We wanted to just experience something else anyway. Right. And I think my number was like $500, right? Right. And I'm like, I'll drop $500. I don't want to completely just walk out of here with nothing, but I was really hoping to get the digital files because I happen to know a place that can print them, and I happen to know a guy that can do some Photoshop work, all the stuff. Right. And we dropped like $3,400. Yeah. Because I got to experience what it was like to be on that side, which was invaluable for me. This is also something I would recommend that every professional photographer, everyone with a studio do. Go experience it and go through the process yourself. Absolutely. But I was shocked when I walked out of there and we talked about it, and my wife was blown away. She's like, I can't believe you did that. Because it was me. It was mostly me that made it happen too. And I was the one going in with like, $500. Right. And so that's a huge piece. I wondered that it made me think what you were saying earlier too about, I was wondering, what do you do from a marketing standpoint, keeping all of this in mind too, from an experience standpoint and keeping your brand in mind, right? And knowing that people aren't going to come in and expect to just walk out of there writing you a check for $200. You're much more than that, not just price-wise, but experientially. What do you do from a marketing standpoint to kind of buttress that?
I think for me, I feel like maybe I've done it this whole time. I'm not even sure, but I feel like I don't have to work so hard at getting that message across anymore because I have marketed it well. For starters, I have a minimum. So my clients already know there's a minimum.
Right away, they know. Yep.
Right away, they know there's a minimum requirement that you have to invest up front. And then I do have I know I said I was going to talk about pricing, but I have two separate packages. So I have where you have your session and minimum order requirement, which is paid up front. And then I have what I call my worry-free collections, and they're digitals and products and the shoot. There's no IPS session. They basically are investing in everything.
Right.
It starts at $2,500, goes to $4,500, and that is paid up front. So I don't, I don't have to worry that they're not obviously going to buy. They can definitely buy more, but that's invested already.
Right.
But for me, I think for marketing, I just want to make sure that that's consistent. Like when I'm sharing, whether it's on my website or on Instagram, I don't really do much for marketing besides Instagram.
That's what I wanted to know. That's what I was going to get at.
Yeah. So the only place I definitely need to work on my website that I do have, but I just don't really, I don't utilize it the way I should. And blogging, I'm not great at keeping up with that either. I'll just be honest. But my clients are on Instagram. I think that's important as photographers to know where our clients are when we talk about marketing. Social media is a great marketing tool for all of us, no matter what genre we're shooting. But my clients, being high school seniors, are on Instagram and obviously now TikTok. We all know TikTok's the new thing. I'm not on TikTok. I don't have a TikTok account, but I love Instagram because it allows us to do the Instagram stories. It allows us to do the highlights, to keep those. So if you go to my Instagram, you'll be able to see all of my highlights, and I keep all the back of, the behind the scenes and the straight out of camera, and the edited images obviously stay on my actual Instagram. But it's been a great tool for me, and I think it's worked well to get that message across to my clients, to show them the value of what they are going to be receiving from me and why it's important to invest in me, what is involved from beginning to the end. So I share my prep guides that I have created for my clients on there. I share Zoom meetings with my clients. I share styling consults that I do with my clients, and also obviously, the makeup and hair sessions and all of the behind the scenes we shoot. I have somebody shoot behind the scenes the entire session. So
you do?
I do.
Okay.
We're keeping them shorter. We're just doing little video clips and then just little shots. But that way my clients know. I think most people look at my portfolio and they think that I'm shooting in these incredible spaces, and I'm not. Most of my locations are in the ditch and are little bushes. So, and I think that's important for my clients to see that I am able to give you, these types of images, because I think, most clients think that I'm like flying all over the world and shooting, and it's right here in their backyard. And I think it's also important for people to see just kind of the transition and the whole day of, the clients coming in and getting into hair and makeup. I don't work with models. We don't have a modeling agency here. So a lot of my clients think they have to be a model to shoot with me. And one thing I always have to remind my girls, I say girls because I don't get a lot of boys, but my clients, is that you are absolutely beautiful just the way you are. And your experience with me, that your day with me isn't for me to change who you are. It's for me to highlight you, you know?
Yes.
And I think another really important thing for me, having a teenage daughter myself, is that letting these kids know that Instagram, you know, I mean, I think there's high expectations for teens, you know? I think everybody feels like there's this level of expectations that they want to meet. And so it's easy to really beat yourself up as a teen these days with social media, because we want to be, I mean, we all want to be what's out there. And I think the girls especially really struggle. I mean, being able to really get to know them and talk with them. A lot of them struggle with feeling like they're not pretty enough or not good enough, or and I just have to remind them that these girls on Instagram that they follow and they love don't wake up looking like that every day. You know, I mean, it's been amazing to be able to show them that, hey, with makeup and good lighting and good photography and good editing skills, like, we all can be models. We all can be models. So, and you all are. Everybody's beautiful. And just, you know, teaching the girls to really like love themselves and not be so focused on trying to live up to what they think society is, you know, expecting them to.
How has you keep saying things that give me all these questions I didn't anticipate. How has your being a mother, especially of a teenage daughter, it positively affected and impacted you as an artist and as a photographer, especially considering that your niche is mostly seniors and mostly senior girls? How are those connected?
You know, I mean, I think one, like I just said, in the sense of just reminding the girls to love themselves and to help them build their confidence. I think it's really been a big part of what I have done, because a lot of girls don't feel, like I said, they don't feel seen. They don't feel beautiful, because even though we know they are, and I know in 10 years they're going to look back at their high school year and think, what a fool I was, because I know I look back at my high school years and think, why did I think that? I mean, you know,
really, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think it's impacted me as a photographer, and even the way that I see the girls and how I photograph them.
Yeah.
And I obviously nothing with guys, but I definitely know a guy photographer when I see a portfolio.
I have heard that said before many times.
Yeah, it's not a you know. I'm not putting down guy photographers, but there's a difference. And I think because as women, we just are able to see things in a different way. But being a woman and being a mother definitely has impacted how I photograph the girls, how I pose the girls. I'm a very conservative photographer. I mean, if you look at my portfolio, you'll see it. I mean, I'm in a conservative town, and definitely it's important for me to just make sure that my portfolio is what I want to see of my daughter, and I want girls to just respect themselves, you know. I mean, beauty comes in all shape and form. And,
right. Well, tell people where can they go? Where's your information? Where can people find you at online, and your website and your Instagram and everywhere to find you?
So my website is just truemoua.com. It's TRUEMOUA.com. And then my Instagram is True Moua Photography. And Facebook is the same thing. It's True Moua Photography on Facebook. So I am horrible at updating my Facebook. Even though that's the social media, you know, that started my whole business. I'm bad at updating that, because again, my seniors they're not on Facebook. So I focus Instagram based. I focus all my marketing and everything on Instagram.
it's June right now. We don't have a lot going on in our industry in person per se, but do you have anything planned over the next 6 to 12 months that's tentative at this point?
I don't. So, I mean, every year for my business, every year we do an international senior trip. And usually that happens in July, but with all of the borders being closed, unfortunately, that's not happening. And with our rise in, COVID cases here in town, I don't know what it's like where you are, but, I'm just doing my part as a business and to help with community spread. And so, there's not a whole lot that I have planned. I usually do workshops in my slower season. So usually that's December, January. And this was the first year that I didn't plan one, mainly because my grandma had passed away and we just had a lot going on. But it worked out because with COVID, nobody was able to go anywhere.
Right.
So yeah, not a whole lot going on this year. Really just, I'm kind of keeping things a little slow, even on the teaching aspect. I'm still doing mentorships and stuff like that, but not big conferences or anything that involves any traveling at this point, unfortunately.
I get it. It's one day at a time, it seems like.
Yeah, it really is. So I think, we don't know. We just don't know. And I think it's just better to just, keep our schedules light. And
hold on loosely. Right. I agree. That makes a lot of sense. Hey, thank you. Thank you for doing this with me and talking to me.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. I do hope to see you at some point in person. It would be fun to hang out at a conference, even for a little bit when they're rolling again.
I know. I don't know when that's gonna if it's gonna happen. I think a lot of conferences are moving to online, and I think.
Oh, I know. I hope they don't. I hope they don't always stay there, though. I wanna meet up with people.
I think it's gonna be definitely different, but I don't think you get the same experience from
That's true.
Conference.
Very, very true. Well, in the meantime, stay safe.
You too.
Thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We'll talk to you later.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this conversation presented by White House Custom Color on YouTube. Be sure to check out our other content and click that subscribe button right there. Right. Right there. It's there somewhere.